So in the previous session we were discussing about the flower, that is the reproductive part of the plant, angiosperm plant body. In the flower we had studied about the structure, that means which all the different parts of a flower are present, and also we had looked into the different types of flowers based on different criteria. So try to recall from the previous session that we had discussed about the different types of flowers, such as based on the symmetry of the flower, and also based on the number of appendages of the flower, based on presence or absence of androecium and gynoecium, and also based on one more criteria, that is the position of the ovary within the flower. Okay, so I have already told you in the previous session, these are all very important and you need to remember all these things with appropriate examples, and you need to draw the diagrams wherever necessary. Keep one thing in mind about morphology chapter or the next chapter which we are going to learn, that is anatomy chapter. So wherever the diagrams are required, you need to draw. Even though if the diagram is not asked specifically, if there is a simple diagram which you can make very quickly without wasting much of time, then you have to go for diagram. Okay, so that one thing you should keep in mind. Okay, diagrams are very important. Diagrams and examples are two very important things in the morphology chapter. Now see, we need to study about the parts of a flower. Of course, we have looked into the 4 whorls of a flower. We already know why they are called as whorls, right? They are arranged concentrically, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಫ್ಯಾಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾದ ನಂತರ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಒಂದಾದ ನಂತರ ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಲೇಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. The outermost layer will be called as calyx, the next one will be called as corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Okay, see, out of these 4, calyx and corolla are called as accessory whorls. They are called as accessory whorls, whereas androecium and gynoecium, these are called as essential whorls. These are called as essential whorls. Okay, see, why do we bifurcate them into essential whorls and accessory whorls? Because see, androecium and gynoecium, as I had told you in the previous session itself, these are the actual parts of a flower which actively involve in the process of sexual reproduction. Androecium the appendages ಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ? Stamens ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. Gynoecium the appendages ಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ? They are called as the pistil or the carpel. So it is the male reproductive part and this is the female reproductive part. That means it is these 2 parts which actually actively directly are involved in the sexual reproduction there, right? But these 2, though they are the parts of a flower, though they are the parts of the sexually reproductive or sexually active part of the plant body, that is flower, but they are not directly participating in the process of sexual reproduction. Then do they have no role at all in the sexual reproduction? No, they have role, but they actually do not participate directly in the process of sexual reproduction. That means what? Are they involved indirectly in the sexual reproduction? Yes. How is that? See, calyx and corolla, of course we are going to study about in detail now, one by one, and we will understand by looking at the calyx and corolla that they only help androecium and gynoecium for their protection. Also, the corolla, the petals of the corolla being attractively colored, they attract the insects which can be acting as the pollinators. Right? So this is one very important thing that you need to look at, right? The accessory whorls and essential whorls, this can be an important thing to remember. Now let us first study the accessory whorls and then we can go for the essential whorls, right? So let me consider the calyx first. So as you already know, calyx means it is the outermost whorl of a flower having green small leaf-like appendages called sepals. Yes, the appendages of the calyx are called as what? They are called as sepals. And how do they look like? They look like the small green leaf-like appendages. See, if you look at the flower, see, I'm going to draw the corolla now. See, this is the corolla of a flower. Okay, so this is a flower. Imagine this is a flower, and you are going to see some small leaf-like structures at the base of the petals. Have you observed such small leaf-like structures which are usually green in color, right? So these are what? These are sepals, and the whorl, the entire whorl consisting of many sepals. The number of the sepals may be varying in different flowers. Okay, so total number of sepals eshte idru kuda, the part which is consisting of that sepals will be called as what? Calyx. That whorl is called as calyx. Okay, the appendages of that whorl, they are called as what? They are called as sepals. And these sepals, sometimes they can be fused. Okay, see, fused sepals, they are called as gamosepalous condition. Gamosepalous, fused anta helidre, see, for example, in some plants like that of datura anta ಒಂದು plant ಇದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ದತುರ, ನೀವು ವೀಡ್ ಬೆಳೆದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅಥವಾ ಹಾಳು ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಕಸದ್ದು ಗಿಡಗಳು ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದತುರ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್, ವೈಟ್ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ಡ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯೂಜ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ವೆರಿ elongated flower. So it looks like this. See, at the base of which the calyx will be like this, and this calyx, it is called fused calyx. Yake anta nodi, in this calyx, what you are seeing is all the appendages of the calyx, the sepals of the calyx, they are not cut at the base. That means illi base ninda separation aglilla. See, this is one instance that we are going to consider. Another instance nodi, like in hibiscus, right? So this is another instance we can consider. Illi kuda sepals ide. This is also one of the types of calyx. This is one of the types of the calyx. In this case, it is the fused condition. Fused condition. Here it is free condition. Yes, free to the base. The sepals are free to the base. The sepals are fused at the base. Yes, so this condition will be called as gamosepalous. Remember some of the important terms that you need to remember. Gamo refers to fused. Okay, and here free sepals, it is called as polysepalous. Poly means what? Many. Okay, illi in one calyx or in one whorl of the calyx, we will see many free sepals. They are all free. That is why this is polysepalous, this is gamosepalous. Okay, so the best example for polysepalous can be this one. Polysepalous ಗೆ ನೀವು example hibiscus ಕೊಡಬಹುದು, and for gamosepalous you can give the example of which one? Datura. Datura can be the best example for fused condition of the sepals. Okay, so this is about the sepals. And what is the function of the sepals? You got an idea what is a sepal and how it can be present in a flower, right? See, this is one type. Illi free condition ide, illi fused condition ide. This is called polysepalous condition. This is called gamosepalous condition. But what is the basic function of this one? See, the basic function of the sepals is to give protection to the corolla. Protection to corolla. Or corolla the appendages again ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ petals, especially in the bud condition. During bud condition, bud means ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಮೊಗ್ಗು ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. Okay, the flower before it opens up. ಓಕೆ, ವೈಡ್ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಮೊಗ್ಗು ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಸೊ ಬಡ್ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಇರುವಾಗ ದ ಪೆಟಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೀಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ದ ಸೆಪಲ್ಸ್. ಯು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಎನಿ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಇನ್ ದ bud condition, so it will be completely covered by the sepals. Later when it matures, the sepals they open up and slowly the petals they start coming out, right? So that is when the petals open. Even after a completely bloomed flower, even after the complete blooming of a flower, we will see that the sepals are present at the base. So that, see, if you remove those sepals from hibiscus, you take a hibiscus and remove the sepals and see what happens. The petals which were held in proper position, they will start falling off. That means even after the maturation of the flower, even after the complete blooming of the flower, the sepals help the corolla or the petals of the corolla to be in an appropriate position. Okay, they hold them in proper position. Okay, that is the main function of this one. And of course they are also green, they are leaf like structures, they actually also involved in the process of photosynthesis. Any green part of the plant body can be said to be involved in the process of photosynthesis. Yes, so that can be also, that is photosynthesis also can be one of the functions of this one. So this is about the calyx. Now let us see about the corolla. See, what is corolla? You know, that is the brightly colored attractive whorl having elongated appendages called petals. Okay, so this is the whorl which is brightly colored. Okay, and see how the appendages of this whorl, they look like, they are very brightly colored, right? And also they are elongated than that of the calyx, and this is the second whorl from the outside, right? So this is the second outermost whorl, and the appendages of this particular whorl, they are called as petals, right? So you are seeing the petals here. So you look at any flower, the beauty of the flower is mainly because of the petals. There are variously colored flowers available in the nature, right? They may be pale colored. Sometimes you will see the flowers such as the jasmine or nyctanthus, parijata anta kariteve, right? So there are many pale colored flowers also. Sampige nodirtiri, that is also not very brightly colored, it is pale colored. But you also see very brightly colored flowers such as rose, red colored rose, very attractive. The daswada, that is nothing but the hibiscus, right? You also see rathapushpa anta kariteve, clerodendron anta heli, right? So there are many brightly colored flowers also. One thing you try to observe and notice, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬ್ರೈಟ್ಲಿ ಕಲರ್ಡ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಪ್ಲೆಜರ್ ಫ್ರೇಗ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. ಅದರದ್ದು ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೇಗ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಥವಾ ಫ್ರೇಗ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಫ್ರೇಗ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ when you observe the flowers with the pale colored petals like jasmine or parijata, that is the nyctanthus, right? So and even the sampige, okay, so micaelia, sampige is called micaelia. In these flowers which are pale colored, they have very attractive, very pleasure scent or smell, right? So why is this so? See, that is again because of the different adaptations, mainly for pollination, that we will discuss in the second year. But for now you understand, flowers, they have been modified so brightfully, or they have been modified very much diversely only because of the presence of the petals. Okay, so these petals, they actually have a major role in attracting. Their main function is attracting pollinators to cause pollination. And even in this case also, even in the case of the corolla also, or in the case of the petals also, we find two different types based on whether they are fused or they are free. Just like the fused sepals, they are called as gamosepalous, and the free sepals, they are called as polysepalous. Similarly, in the case of the petals also, we will find the same example you can consider. Which one? Hibiscus nodidiri alva? Hibiscus nalli they are all free. right? They are free until the base, and that is why it is called as polypetalous condition. Polypetalous condition. Whereas if you take the example of any other flower, like maybe bell-shaped flower nodirbodu. I mean, the corolla will be having different shapes. It can be sometimes bell-shaped, it can be elongated, right? Or it can be disc-shaped, it can be like a hat. There are different types of the or different shapes in the corolla, and here when we look at the arrangement of the petals in the corolla, they may be free, that is polypetalous, or they may be fused. Like for example, again you can consider datura or convolvulaceae, that is ipomia. Yes, you can consider. You must have seen the flowers like this. See, sometimes the flowers will be like this. Have you seen such bell-shaped flowers? And this will form a tube of the corolla. This is called corolla tube. This is bell-shaped and it is forming a corolla tube. And the best example for this is ipomia, and this kind of what is that corolla will be called as a gamopetalous condition. This is called gamopetalous condition. That is the fused condition. Here it is free and here it is fused. This is polypetalous, this is gamopetalous. In this case of the sepals, it is a gamosepalous, means fused sepals, whereas polysepalous means free sepals. Okay? Poly ಮತ್ತು gamo ಎರಡು term ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. Petal ಮತ್ತು sepal ತಾನಾಗೆ ನೆನಪುಳಿಯುತ್ತೆ. Okay? See, also you need to remember the example for polypetalous. You can remember, of course, you can remember the same example for polypetalous and polysepalous. You can remember hibiscus. Hibiscus can be the example, and even for the gamopetalous and gamosepalous, you can remember the same example. Which example? Datura ಒಂದು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು ನೀವು. Datura. Okay? Same example will do. Right? So this is about the calyx and corolla, their structure, their function, their attachment with each other. Right? So this is about this. And we see one more very peculiar structure at the base of the flower. And do you know what is the stalk of the flower is called as? You already know this will be called as pedicel. Yes, this will be called as pedicel, right? And what is the stalk of the leaf will be called as? Stalk of the leaf is called as petiole. And you know the attachment of the leaf to the stem will be called as leaf base. Similarly, here at the place of attachment of the stalk of the flower with the base of or the thalamus. Thalamus ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, the terminal end of the pedicel which is swollen slightly, that will be called as the thalamus. ಆ thalamus ನ ಮೇಲೆ there are various whorls of the flower originating from. The calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, all of them originate from that swollen portion called thalamus or receptacle. ಆ ರೆಸೆಪ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ಯಾಲಿಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಕೆಲವೊಮ್ಮೆ ನೋಡಿ, if this is the calyx, see if this is the calyx, calyx na ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಥವಾ ಮೇಲೆ like this, so small leaf like appendages, and these small leaf like appendages leaf ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು ಅಲ್ವಾ. leaf ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೀಗಿದ್ದಾಗ leaf at the base of the leaf there were small leaf like appendages. They were called as what? They were called as stipules, right? But here similar leaf like appendages, if they are present at the base of the flower, they will be called as not stipules, they are called as bract anta kariteve. Such a small leaf like appendage present at the base of the flower, that will be called as what? Bract. Okay, not to get confused, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ನ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ, ಲೀಫ್ ನ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಿಪ್ಯೂಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೇವೆ. Okay, see, this is about the calyx, corolla, that is, and also the bract. Now let us understand how the arrangement of the petals and sepals they look like, and what are the four main types of arrangements, and what is the arrangement of the petals or sepals in a flower it is called as. In the case of veins, ನಾವು ಲೀಫ್ ಅನ್ನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಲೀಫ್ ಬ್ಲೇಡ್ ನ ಮೇಲೆ ವೇನ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ವೇನ್ಲೆಟ್ಸ್ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ವೆನೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೆದಿದ್ವಿ. Right? The arrangement of the veins and veinlets on the leaf blade will be called as venation. And the other case, the arrangement of the leaves on the stem axis will be called as what? Phyllotaxy. Similarly, the arrangement of the petals and sepals on the thalamus. I repeat, arrangement of the sepals and petals on the thalamus will be called as aestivation. Okay, now let us study what are the different types of aestivation. So here we learnt about the calyx and corolla now, and let us see what is aestivation. Aestivation means the arrangement of the petals or sepals, basically the appendages of the calyx and corolla, with respect to the other member of the same whorl. So that is what is called as aestivation, and aestivation is mainly studied in the bud condition. So what can be the definition for aestivation? It is the arrangement of sepals or petals, or you can write calyx and corolla in bud condition. In bud condition, with respect to another member of the same whorl. So this is what is called as the aestivation. So hagandre ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, see, you will see the calyx and corolla, they are arranged with each other, right? So in a flower there may be 5 sepals or 5 petals, maybe 6 petals or 6 sepals, right? And how these have been arranged in that whorl. ಈಗ calyx ನಲ್ಲಿ what are the appendages of the calyx are called as? They are called as sepals. How the sepals are arranged, how one sepal is arranged with respect to the other sepal of the same whorl, that means, and or you can also consider how petals are arranged with each other. That is what is called as aestivation. In order to study the aestivation in the field, in the wild, if you go and look at a flower, and that flower should be in the bud condition, ಆ flower ಅನ್ನು ನೀವು ಮೇಲೆಯಿಂದ ಹಿಡಿದು ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, so you will see the arrangement. In some cases you will see the valvate aestivation, where the petals or sepals, they are arranged like this. See, I am drawing in front of you because the drawing of these diagrams is also very important, and this can be an important 5-mark question for you. What is aestivation? And draw the 4 different types of aestivation in the angiosperm flower. This can be an important question. That is why you should try to learn drawings of or diagrams of these aestivations. See, I am considering 5 petals now, or sepals also. You can consider either sepal or petal, and here the arrangement is such that the petal or sepal is not touching, is not overlapping. It is neither touching nor overlapping the other appendage of the same whorl. They are all lying in the same circle. They are all in the same plane. Onde plane alli ide, but they are not overlapping, they are not touching also. So this kind of aestivation will be called as valvate aestivation. This is called as valvate aestivation. It can be studied, it can be observed in an example such as calotropis. Calotropis is the best example you need to remember for valvate aestivation. What is valvate aestivation here? The appendages or the sepals or petals are arranged in such a way they are all in the same plane or in the same circle. They are neither overlapping nor they are touching each other. Okay, so this is how it is. The ends of each appendage, ends of each sepal or petal, it lies exactly in the same plane with the other. So this is what valvate. Okay, the next one what we are going to learn is called as twisted aestivation. Twisted means what? If you take a piece of cloth and twist it, what will you see? One layer overlaps on the other, that layer overlaps on the another layer. So like this, many layers overlapping on each other. That is what is called twisted appearance, right? Similar twisted appearance can be seen if you observe closely with hibiscus. If you look at a bud conditioned hibiscus or maybe a flower of cotton, so there you are going to see the twisted aestivation of the calyx and corolla. Let me try to draw the diagram of the twisted aestivation here. See, this is overlapped by the other, this one is also overlapped by the other like this, and once again this is also overlapped by the other, and even this one. See, it gives us a twisted appearance of the flower or of the petals or sepals. Is it not giving a twisted appearance? Just or elongate idanna ನೀವು just drag ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ you will see a twisted appearance. Okay, they're all twisted, so this is what is called as twisted aestivation. Twisted aestivation. Example for this one is cotton, hibiscus. Hibiscus is also written as China rose, that is a common name of that. And one more example for the twisted aestivation can be the lady's finger. Lady's finger. This can be another example for twisted aestivation, right? Twisted anta helidre twist agiro ತರ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. And if you see, just for your reference, ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು enlarge ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ, ಇದನ್ನ enlarge ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ you will see the twisted aestivation very clearly. ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಡಿ, but I am just showing you. See, it looks completely twisted. See, this is how it looks like, twisted. Okay, so this is what is called, this is what is seen in the examples such as cotton, hibiscus and lady's finger. Another example let us consider, or the next type of aestivation that we are going to see here is imbricate aestivation. In the case of imbricate aestivation, it is not completely twisted, not completely overlapping also, or it is not having a proper overlapping. In the case of the twisted, what we are seeing, each appendage, one end of the appendage is overlapped by the next appendage and the other end is overlapping the other appendage. Andre this end of this appendage is outside, idu mele ide, idu olagade ide. This is outside, this is inside. Similarly, this end of this appendage is outside, this end of this appendage is inside. Idurdu nodi, idu horagade ide, idu olagade ide. And even this one also, one is outside, one is inside. Even this one also, one is outside, one is inside. This will give the twisted appearance. Whereas in the case of imbricate aestivation, what do we observe here is one is completely inside. Andre both the ends of that particular appendage, sepal irbodu, petal irbodu, both the ends are completely inside, one is completely outside, and other three they are overlapping. That means one outside, one inside. Let us see how is that. See, this is one appendage. Okay, see this, if you consider completely inside, this might be completely outside. So imbricate aestivation, I am drawing here. Yes, see, this is what is called as imbricate aestivation. See, what you're seeing here is this petal or this sepal, it is completely inside. Eradu endgalu olagade ide. Whereas this one, which is opposite to that one, both ends are outside. Whereas this one and this one, you are seeing one outside, one is inside. See, small mistake I have done here. See, it should be outside here. Yes, now you can see this is the imbricate aestivation. Idu completely inside ide, idu completely outside ide. Whereas other three sepals or other three petals, you are seeing one end outside, one end inside, one end inside, one end outside, inside, outside, right? So this is what is called imbricate aestivation. Imbricate aestivation, and this kind of imbricate aestivation can be studied in cassia. Cassia. Okay, so cassia is the best example for imbricate aestivation, right? And here another example for this one is gulmohar. Okay, gulmohar mayflower anta gottide, and I have also given the example of calotropis before. Calotropis is the example, adukke ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಕೆ ಗಿಡ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. That is the example for valvate one. So imbricate aestivation, I hope you have understood. The next aestivation that we are going to study here is vexillary aestivation. This is a special kind of aestivation which is mainly present in a particular family of the angiosperm, and that family is actually named after that particular aestivation. Okay, I will tell you what family it is called as later. See, it looks like this. There will be one large petal. This petal will be called as the standard petal. There will be one large petal. This will be called as standard petal, and this standard petal will cover two small petals which are just like side wings, and that is why those two petals, they are also called as wing petals anta karitave. Those two petals, they are also called as wing petals. See, wing petal. This is also wing petal. And these two wing petals, they again enclose a pair of petals which are joined at the end. See, illi innondu pair of petals ide, and these two are joined at the base, and these two petals which are covered by the wing petals, they are called as keel petals. This one and this one, they are called as keel petals. So keel petals, they are joined at the base, and this kind of aestivation will be called as vexillary aestivation. Vexillary aestivation, right? And this kind of aestivation is also called as, this kind of corolla is also called as papilionaceous corolla, or papilionaceous in what is that aestivation. And example for this one, you can give the examples like any Fabaceae flower or any flower belonging to the Papilionaceae. So you can give pea, right, bean, etc. Pea, bean, etc. can be the example for this particular type of aestivation, right? The significance of this aestivation, it is present only in one particular family called Papilionaceae or Fabaceae, right? And it will be having three different types of petals. One is called as the standard petal. Standard petal covers the two small petals called as wing petals, and wing petals once again cover a pair of petals, they are called as keel petals. Keel petals are joined at the base. Okay, so this is the kind of aestivation that we find in the case of particular plants. So as I told you, these are the four main types of aestivations, and you need to remember how to draw them, and also you need to remember the explanation of them and examples of them. Okay, so this is about aestivation. In the next session, we are going to see the other aspects of the flower.